Hello, dear viewers. Welcome. I'm Professor Meshramkar Sunetra, Assistant Professor in Department of English, J.A.T, Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Malegaon. Once again, I'm with you with a new presentation on a very famous poem written by Kamla, My Grandmother's House. This poem is a short but evocative piece from her collection, Summer in Calcutta. It is written in free verse. It is highly autobiographical poem. The poem reflects the poet's nostalgia for her childhood and the emotional security she experienced in her grandmother's house. It contrasts the warmth of her past with the loneliness and alienation of her present life. Kamla was born on 31st March 1934 at Punniyarkulam in Malabar district, Kerala. Now this Malabar is known as Thrissur. She died on 31st March 2009 at the age of 75 in Pune. She was married to Madhava Das. Kamla Das, a very well-known Indian poet and Malayalam writer who is known for her confessional style and honesty. She has explored the themes of love, loneliness, and womanhood. She is known as a feminist voice. Her poetry is totally confessional poetry. She has explored female sexuality in her poems. She wrote in English as well as in Malayalam language. This poem opens with the speaker recalling her grandmother's house. This was a place where she once felt deeply loved and secured. She remembers it as a sheltering home full of warmth, affection, and family bonds. This house in Malabar, which is now known as Thrissur, Kerala, is depicted as a symbol of comfort, tradition, and stability in her turbulent life. However, after her grandmother's death, the house became desolate and decaying. The poet describes the house as silent and snake-infested house. In this poem, she has highlighted the neglect and emptiness which has overtaken it. This change mirrors the loss of affection and stability in her own life as she grows older and moves away. She confesses that she longs to return to this house and to the days of unselfish love she received from her grandmother. The poet expresses an intense sense of nostalgia and yearning for the emotional support she once had. She even wished she could bring at least an armful of darkness from the house to fill the emotional void she feels now. The final lines of this poem shift to the poet's present state. She compares herself to a beggar who, though once rich in love, now stands outside strangers' doors asking for a little warmth. Very nice imagery Kamla Das has used in this poem. Once she got too much love in her grandmother's house, but now she doesn't get love from anyone. Therefore, just like a beggar, she begs for love. She stands outside the stranger's doors, asking for a little warmth. This image highlights her deep emotional poverty and alienation in her adult relationship. The poem ends on a note of quiet despair. It shows how memories of the past intensify her awareness of present loneliness. Kamla Das has used various themes in this poem. There is nostalgia for her childhood. This poem shows the poet's longing for innocence, warmth, and affection of her childhood. The poem highlights loss and decay because the house is decayed. It symbolizes the loss of love and security. The poem highlights loneliness and alienation. In adulthood, the poet feels emotionally impoverished, contrasting sharply with her secure past. And the most important and highlighted theme is her search for love. The beggar's image at the end signifies the poet's desperate search for affection and belonging. In her grandmother's house, she got love, she got warmth, she got affection, but now there is no one who could give her love, warmth, and affection. Now we'll focus on the poem. Now, what she says: there is a house now far away where once I received love. That woman died. The house withdrew into silence. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. How often I think of going there to peer through blind eyes of windows, or just listen to the frozen air, or in wild despair pick up a crease later from the floor to feel that I'm not alone in my loneliness. Can I go there now? Now, this poem is not merely about a physical building, but it is about the lost emotional world. Kamla Das has used vivid imagery and symbols. She has communicated her inner emptiness. The poem stands as a poignant portrayal of the universal human desire to return to a time of unconditional love and care. The poet says, there is a house now far away where once I received love. The speaker remembers a house that is physically distant from her now. That is her grandmother's house. It is not just a building, but it is a place of unconditional love and warmth. She experienced this unconditional love and warmth in her childhood, but no more. She gets that love and warmth in her adulthood. In the next line, she says, that woman died. The house withdrew into silence. That woman died. That woman who is mentioned here is no one else but her grandmother. The grandmother has passed away, and with her death, the house has lost its life. The house has lost its vibrancy. The house withdrew into silence. Now, this line, withdrew into silence, conveys how empty and lifeless now that house has become. And the next line, the poet says, snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read. Now, this shows neglect. There is no one to take care of the house. There is no one to take care of the books. And as there is no one to take care of the house, even snakes roam inside it. It hints at the lost knowledge and memories. The books remain unread, just as the past remains untouched. Now she says, my blood turned into cold like the moon. Now, this is an emotional image. It is losing. So, she is focusing the loss of her grandmother, losing her grandmother, and losing her childhood. Makes her feeling cold, lonely, and lifeless. She feels cold like the light of moon. Therefore she says, my blood turned into cold like the moon. Now in the next line the poet says, how often I think of going there. The speaker frequently feels the urge, the desire to return to that house, to return to the place where once she was loved, where she felt secured. But now, no one lives there. There is no one who could give her love and security. There is no one who could offer her warmth and affection. The poet desires to go there. In the next line she says, to peer through blind eyes of windows. Now the windows are described as blind eyes. They are lifeless. They are unused. They are like the eyes without sight. Therefore, now these windows have become blind. Now this image emphasizes the abandonment. The house is abandoned. No one lives there. The poet then says, or just listen to the frozen air. Here the poet imagines standing there, listening to the cold, silent atmosphere. The air is frozen. The frozen air conveys physical coldness and emotional stillness. Now the poet says, or in wild despair, pick an armful of darkness to bring it here. The poet feels so desperate for some connection to the past that she wants to gather even the darkness. Now, these memories, the emptiness, the atmosphere of the house, bring it back to current life. This shows how deep her yearning for that lost love. Now she wishes to get the same love from her grandmother. Therefore, she desires to go there. She wants even the darkness. She says, how often I think of going there to peer through blind eyes of windows, or just listen to the frozen air, or in wild despair pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to lie behind my bedroom door like a brooding dog. This image of brooding dog suggests loneliness, faithfulness, and longing. She wants the essence of her grandmother's house. She wants to stay close to her. She wants the comfort which she got from her. Wants or she desires that comfort like that faithful animal that is dog. Now in the next line she says, "You cannot believe, darling, can you, that I lived in such house and was proud and loved." The speaker addresses someone. Perhaps she is addressing her lover. Perhaps she is addressing her husband. She says, "You wouldn't believe. Once I lived in the same house. I was loved so deeply." Now this shows a contrast between her past and her present. Now she feels unloved. She feels unfulfilled because there is no one who could love her. She says, "I was proud. I was loved." So she once felt secured, proud, and deeply loved. And it is totally different from her present condition because now there is no one who could love her. Then the poet says, "I who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' doors to receive love, at least in small change." What a line. "I who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' doors." She compares her current life to begging for love from strangers. She calls herself a beggar. Now she has become a beggar because now she has lost her grandmother. There is no one who loves her. There is no one who gives her warmth and affection. And therefore, she is begging for love. She is begging for love from strangers. She has lost her way. It means she has lost her sense of self. She has lost the home of affection. She has lost the home of warmth. To receive love at least in small change. This is a powerful image. She is so starved for affection that she is willing to accept even in small change. Small change means teeny, insufficient amount. Unlike the abundant love she received from her grandmother's house, she is ready to do anything to get little love from someone. But there is no one who could offer her love, and therefore she is begging for love. This poem is about nostalgia. This poem is about loss. This poem is longing for unconditional love. Her grandmother's house represents warmth and security. That house represents love, and Now there is no one who could offer love, warmth, and security to the poet. The decay of the house mirrors the emotional desolation of the poet Kamla Das in adulthood. So, here the poet has expressed her yearning for love, and she is longing for love, she is longing for innocence, warmth, and affection. Her search for love is highlighted in the poem, and therefore she has used the image of beggar in the last line of the poem. It signifies the poet's desperate search for affection and love. So, this is a highly autobiographical poem written by Kamla Suraya Das. Thank you. Thank you for watching.